Would you like to be closing more deals in today's marketplace? Of course, your answer is yes. Now, what's crazy about closing deals in this particular marketplace is that there are actually things that top performers are doing that separate themselves from the hordes of other people that allow them to close more sales. And we just came out with some new data based on analyzing about 24,000 conversations to determine what top performing reps are doing to close more deals. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 closing sales tips based on brand new data. Check it out. Number 1, make it back and forth. What we learned from the data is that top performers have 54% more conversation switches in discovery and 78% more conversation switches during presentations. So a conversation switch is literally, I talk, you talk. That's a conversation switch. I talk, you talk. Every time there's a switch of person, that's a conversation switch. And top performers are going back and forth so much more than everyone else. This is truly a groundbreaking understanding of how top performers are selling. So what we need to be doing is making sure that we're constantly bringing the prospect back into the conversation. And even when they're talking, we are constantly bringing ourselves back into the conversation, showing that we are actively engaged with little prompts like, I understand what you're saying, or that makes sense, or interesting, right? Those little comments, that's a conversation switch. At the same time, when we're talking, we want to bring them back into the conversation with little feedback loops, little questions like, do you see what I mean? Or does that make sense in your world, right? Getting them to come back into the conversation, going back and forth. Number 2, demand more time. What we learned is that top performers' discovery calls are 76% longer than those of the rest of the team. And what's more is that top performers' presentation calls are also longer by a difference of about 55%. So we must be expecting more time from our prospects when we schedule that meeting. There's no just getting your foot in the door, trying to get 5 minutes or 7 minutes of their time and then trying to get longer. Instead, we want to expect more time up front. And then of course we need to engage them along the way to make sure that the conversation goes further. But we are not going to close the sale by having these really, really short conversations. They've got to be enough time to accomplish whatever needs to happen. Number 3, ask and get more questions. What the data shows is that top performers ask 39% more questions in discovery and 40% more questions during presentations. And even more interesting is that the data shows that the number of questions that the prospect is asking of a top performing sales rep is 40% higher in discovery and 43% higher during presentation. So those top performers are both asking way more questions and they're receiving way more questions. So what we understand from this is that the conversations are way more engaged. Prospects are fully present. They're not just texting or checking their email. They're really listening. And as a result, they're asking more questions. And at the same time, the salesperson is asking more questions of the prospect to show far more engagement. Having this level of questions back and forth is critical to the success of a sale. Number 4, slow things down. What we learned from this new data is that top performers speak at an average of about 171 words per minute, while the rest of the team speaks at an average of 182 words per minute. That's about a 6.5% difference. And what's even more interesting is that the pace at which their prospects speak is different as well. Top performers' prospects speak only around 174 words per minute, whereas the rest of the team has prospects who speak 198 words per minute. That's a 14% difference between top performers' prospects and everyone else's prospects. So what this tells us is that top performers are able to slow down the conversation on both sides to get the prospect to really engage with what they're focused on. They're not just trying to rush through, trying to just get through this discovery and try to move on to the next thing. Instead, they're fully engaged. So be willing to slow down the conversation, get comfortable at that slower pace, because that's going to have a huge impact on the likelihood of ultimately closing the deal. Number 5, features are sales death. Now, what we learned from the data is that top performers discuss features during their discovery about half as much as everyone else. Half as much. And at the same time, top performers' presentations discuss features about 63% less than everyone else. This means that top performers are way less focused on selling features. We must move into the new world of selling, which is not focused on product features. Instead, it's focused on solutions. Your features are great. That's good for you, but your prospects don't care. What they care about is that you can solve their problems. So instead of focusing on your features of your product or your service, instead focus on the ultimate solutions and outcomes that your prospects are looking to accomplish. So there are 5 closing sales tips based on brand new data. And if you enjoyed this video, then I have an amazing free training on the step-by-step formula to closing more deals. Just click right here to get registered instantly. Seriously, just click right here. This is an in-depth training that will help you close more deals at higher prices, all while generating more meetings. Also, if you got some value, please like this video below on YouTube and be sure to subscribe by clicking my face, which should be right about here, to get access to a new video just like this one each week.